領域展開無料空所
Oh yeah, welcome back to the Fire King's domain. It's me, Fire King Kami, bringing you the build video for Luke Faber from the Tales of Abyss video game for the Tales of Collab series for Last Cloudia. I said I was gonna get a video done, and here it is. So I figure we can just go ahead and jump right in here. Luke Faber from, like I said, Tales of Abyss. I haven't played the game, but Dojo has, so if you need to hear any more about the game, go hit up Dojo. This so far has been my favorite character from the Tales of series. Not exactly sure why, but he just reminds me of like Adele when he has Holy Enchant activated. I'm not exactly sure why it reminds me of him. I think that's really just it, the whole light damage and Luke just doing like a lot of damage. The build that we have right here, he is level 110 with 4.5 awakening stage. I do have his board all the way unlocked with his ward unlocked. And this Luke has 30 light resistance and 20 like negative dark resistance. Pretty much resistant to everything and nil to stun, and can never remember what status or element that is down there. But pretty resistant to everything. A little over 11,000 health, a little over 400 MP, a little over 4,500 strength, 1,500 defense, a little over 1,000 intellect, and a little over 1,100 or 1,200 mind. So yeah, that's pretty much Luke. Next, we want to get into his traits. So his first trait, Albert style swordsmanship. Light damage plus 40%, damage cap plus 12,000, continuous fort and protection effects, which is really good for him. When taking physical attacks, chance to nullify damage taken. So it's pretty simple, straightforward, extra light damage, pretty high damage cap, continuous effects, and you got a chance to not take damage. Who isn't gonna like not taking any damage? Next we have Swordsman of Lorelei. When using a skill, fill the OL gauge and give unit the OL gauge buff based on the amount of filled OL gauge, max level 1. So the OL gauge with Luke is essentially, it's not really like a shown gauge. You sort of just have to like look for it whenever the buff activates, where basically you use his skills, and as you use his skills, it fills up a gauge that then allows you to use one of his magics, I guess. So this OL buff activated, the OL gauge won't fill when unit or allies are attribute attacking with a skill / magic. You have a chance of giving the FOF buff of the attribute. Boost chance based on level trait, and when giving FOF buff, deal a powerful extra attack of the attribute when the next skill is used. So essentially, when that FOF buff activates, you'll get an extra powerful attack based off of whatever attribute you use last before that buff activated. So essentially, this Luke, it's really fun to use this Luke if you're doing like a weakness exploit like nuke type build, which is sort of what I went for, but I went more for like a generic sort of like Adele type build. So that's what I went with. I like the whole OL buff gauge thing. It's actually really cool. I've played around with it. It makes it really nice. And before I even forget to mention it, the OL buff is essentially you don't get any flinch when you're using skills on most attacks. So it's like Adele, who doesn't flinch at fire or light depending on if you have Holy Enchant activated or not. Luke just doesn't take any sort of, on most attacks, just doesn't get flinched while he's using skills. So that's really good in my opinion. That's like, you can power through a lot of enemies that way. So next we have Luke's skills. Obviously 4 skills. First one, his S1 Rending Thrust. Instantly close the gap for a medium area light combo attack. Who does that remind you of? That's a really good ad clearing skill, because especially when you have some of the trait or skills that I have on him, that's just always going to be available for you as soon as the round starts. Next we have Guardian Field. So wide area light combo attack around the unit. Allies within the area recover medium HP excluding Luke. This skill is actually really nice. One, because the damage that it does from that skill is really good. And secondly, it's sort of like he's a backup healer in like an emergency, and he doesn't even need like SC or anything for it. It's not really it's not going to keep you from dying on the hardest in-game stuff, but it's definitely if you need to get an emergency heal, bring Luke around the rest of your units, activate that skill. Not only does he damage, but he also heals. Doesn't heal himself though, which it would be nice if he could, but I understand why they didn't add it that way. Next is Light Spear Cannon, so wide area light combo attack. So this is probably my favorite skill that Luke has, because it's long range. It's essentially Rending Thrust, but it hits multiple enemies. That's that wide area that I was talking about. Whenever I run my Luke on multiplayer missions, essentially that S3 is what's taking out most of the ads before we get to the boss. And even when we get to the boss, that skill just does a crazy amount of damage. And then finally, Luke's special, Lost Fawn Drive. It deals a light attack to all enemies, then deals a light attack to target enemy, followed by a powerful light combo attack to all enemies. I believe we're actually going to be able to see this when we get into our test, and it's honestly, it looks really good. I really like the direction that they went with it as far as graphics and everything goes. And it does a pretty good amount of damage. You can definitely make it a lot stronger than probably what you're about to see in my build, but it still, still takes out a good amount of health. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and look at the skills. This is a 94 SC build. It used 2 of his prisms that you get from doing the missions for the event. I've used up all slots in this SC build, so I guess we can just go over everything that we have in here. So very first thing, obviously for free, the OL or over limit, which is that when using a skill can't be interrupted by most attacks. And then that also that gives the buff, and you lose the buff when the OL gauge buff is used. So now we're gonna go down. So what I have for him, first I have all of the attack ups. You don't need all of the attack ups. I think you could probably get away with not having attack up max, but I choose to have it. I just like to have all of the attack ups whenever I'm dealing with a solo sword user. Or not solo, not solo in the sense that he's using one sword. Solo in the sense that you can run this unit by themselves. Next, we're going down and we have Fighting Spirit for free, Heroism for free, Critical Up 1 and Critical Up 3 for free, Advanced Aim Vitals for free, Proud Force for free, Soldier Mastery, Curse Nil for free. So here's when we get to something. Fast Critical. You don't need Fast Critical. You can replace it with a different skill that's similar to it, or even something that does something different. I just chose to have it on there because typically, it's not gonna last. The fight's not gonna last too long to warrant auto critical or anything like that. But you can definitely run it if you'd like to. You can definitely do a crit build with this unit, and you see right there, it gets auto critical for free. Next, Awakening 2 for free, or Awaken 2 for free. You want to put Pride on there. You get Pride 2 for free. You want to put Ardor on there for that critical rate. Silver Lining for free. I used Light Drive on mine, which gives light physical attack and special damage plus 10%, which is actually really good. He gets Light High Drive for free, and he gets Light Mega Drive for free. Next, we have Light Attack Raise 1. And you got that extra light damage plus 20%. I was going to put light attack raise 2 on there, which I definitely may still do that. Be on the lookout in the future if I decide to add that in. But as far as I know, it hasn't really like changed anything, especially when you have light attack raise 3. As long as you have one of those, like light attack raise 1 or 2 on there, then you should be fine. I'm running 2 of the poses. One is a pose of glory to recover SCT, and one is pose of honor to recover 5% MP. That's just going to run into loop with the Goddess Kiss Sharp Eyes that you're about to see. Run Pirate Feast, which is just, Pirate Feast is just a really good skill not to run on like units that are skill based and not just basic attack based units. Spirit Breath is on there. Goddess Kiss, like I just said. Piercing, that's actually a skill that I've been running on a lot of units that I actually really like using a lot. Just that having a chance to greatly reduce enemies' defenses just goes hand in hand with what I was saying earlier about the whole weakness exploit type build that you can do with Luke. You get Holy Aura for free, Meteor Force for free, extra attack boost for free, extra attack boost 2 for free. You get dual wield for free, sword boost for free. I put sword high boost on for 9 SC. So when you have a sword equipped, physical attack damage is plus 30%. You get sword mega boost for free, ultimate boost 3 for free. I put skill charge 1 on simply because I just like having that first skill ready at like any given moment. You can, like I said, you can definitely change that out to something else if you want to. Maybe you want to run like a stock skill or anything like that, like stock skill 1, stock skill 2. I was running a skill charge 1, stock skill 1 on here, but I decided it wasn't really worth having. Sharp Eyes, obviously you're going to want to run Sharp Eyes when you're running Goddess Kissed. Combo Master 2. Now, before this, I did have Combo Master 1 on here, but I noticed that I didn't really run into too many situations where I needed, that when you're over a 50 plus hit combo, you get that extra 20% damage. You really don't need that. That Combo Master 2 is like enough for you. You get Cloak of Majesty, the 4 or 3 chambers for free. You get Recall for free, and you get a skill called I'm Going to Change. Whenever an ally is incapacitated, physical attack damage cap plus 1,000. Max of 5,000, then resets each wave. So that's the SC build that I have on him. I may tweak around and play a little bit. As you can see, I got all of these different ones on here that I was playing around with. I know Purple Orb can be pretty good for him, but you don't necessarily need it. Next, we have his equips. Now, not all of these equips are going to be the best, but they definitely work for me. You can play around with them if you like. I like to do, for Luke, I like to get skills that boosted his physical damage and light damage. So the first one I have on is Zelbius Blade. Critical hit rate plus 5, light attack damage plus 10%. That gives 225 strength. I don't have this fully alchemized, I guess you would say. So, definitely you want to get that. But, even with it not being fully alchemized, it still works really well. Next, I have Pure Blade Muramasa for that physical attack damage plus 20%. If you don't have this, you can run something like Briskloid Zestina. You can run Force Edge. You can run Spirit Blade Marius if you'd like to. Glow Blade, Voltage Blade Zace if you want to. Even Treasure Sword Eulid for that extra defense minus 25%. It's not really the matter of if the sword is going to give, a lot of strength. Is really what I found. It's based off of the trait that it has. So that extra attribute damage or that extra physical attack damage, which I opted to go with that extra physical attack damage there. Next, we have Champion Belt alchemized to level 40. You can get that from running the event for the Otherworldly Swordsman. So when battle starts, when party has 4 units and unit strength is highest in party, auto cast Grand Brave. Now, I'm not gonna have 4 units in my party when I run this, test, but I have ran this champion belt with a full team, and I will say that Grand Rave effect is really nice to have for Luke. And lastly, we have Black Diamond for that extra 350 health, 72 strength. When HP hits 0, you auto revive and slightly recover HP once per wave, and your strength, defense, intellect, and mind is plus 5%. Now, this isn't the de facto best, set of items that you can use on Luke. This is just what works for me. I would recommend you, test around and swap around some of these, maybe figure out other items that you like to run. I know some other items that I like to run for my swordsman are being used on, like A2, Adele, Virgil, even Levi. So, play around with that. And now, the moment that y'all have been waiting for, here is the test. So right now we're rocking 1300 or 13,130 HP with 355 MP. Now here we can see some of the arcs that we're going to be running. I've tested around with a bunch of them, and I think I've narrowed down like the ones that I really like. So first, if you've played the event and if you've pulled it, I like to use Ultra Chronos. For every living ally with a sword equipped other than unit, physical attack damage plus 10%, max of 30%. When reviving an ally with active skills, give that ally undead type and a strength int plus 30% buff once per wave. When only weapon equipped is one sword, damage to guarding enemies plus 50%, damage cap to non-guarding enemies plus 2,000. Now, I really like running this arc because that first part and that last part. I do run Luke a lot with a team, but I also run him, just as equally as much by himself. Now that's one. So if you don't have that, then we can go down and we'll see if we can find it. Next is White Monolith. So light physical attack damage plus 20%. Whenever taking a thunder attack, gradually cut magic damage gradually cut magic attack damage taken. Max of minus 20% resets each wave, and during counter you got a chance to stun. Really, I just use this for the strength, the HP, and that first part, that light physical attack damage plus 20%. Luke, this build that I have for Luke is definitely a skill-based build. If you don't have White Monolith, like I didn't have for like a really long time, another one that I like running, see if we can find it, is Icy Guardian. Most people have Icy Guardian. This is definitely like one of the most used arcs that I use because a lot of my units are swordsmen and swordswomen. So you already know what it is. Physical attack critical damage plus 40%. Physical attack criticals deal an extra ice attack, and fire resistance plus 20, ice resistance plus 20. You get a good amount of HP, good amount of strength, and it's just readily available for most people. I haven't really tested around with any of the SR arcs, but I definitely will be, and I'll maybe like post an update as a short video or something like that. I know Dojo is working on making builds where a lot of the arcs that you can use are going to be the SR arcs, or I'm not sure if you can really run a rare arc. But with all that being said, I think what we're gonna do is we're probably gonna either run Ultra Chronos or White Monolith, and I think I want to run White Monolith just because of the boss that we're about to fight is really weak to light. This one you're not really getting anything from the first part, and we're not only using one sword, we're using two swords. So that's what we're going to be running with. We're going to be running with White Monolith, running with Luke, and let's go. We're going to probably run through the first couple of waves pretty quickly, and we're probably going to save up a good amount of our skills for the final fight. So we're in here, wave 1 of 3. You see, Rending Thrust is doing a pretty good amount of damage. We're gonna come through. These enemies like to run around a lot, and Luke likes to chase them. And as you can see, that they're flinching us a lot, and when they flinch a lot, that's definitely when that OL buff comes into effect. So their skills wouldn't be doing flinch. And as you can see, we just used our S2 Guardian Field and we took out most of them and got all of our HP back, or almost all of our HP back. This second wave is going to be a lot easier. Not that that was difficult, but it's going to be a lot more manageable. So as you can see, we can use like Cannon Spear right here and actually kind of froze up the screen for a second. Once that magic is over, as you can see, we're doing crits at over 30,000 damage, and even our basic damage is at 30,000. So definitely rock with some of that crit that I was talking about. If you want to build more crit on this unit, you can. Now, to get the OL buff, what I found is using Light Spear Cannon twice can definitely be what gives it to you. As you can see, we have the over limit activated right here, so we can go ahead and invoke that. And we have over limit activated, so now we shouldn't be getting stunned by really any skills. What we're gonna do, this boss likes to run back and forth, so what we're gonna do is just take a couple of seconds and we're gonna be hitting him with just our basic attacks. As you can see, the basic attacks were critting at about 7,500 off of the basic attacks. And I'm trying to also actually down there at the bottom get our ultimate ready, so you can see that. So we're gonna activate Rending Thrust a couple of times. We're gonna activate Guardian Field once, and you can see that Guardian Field actually does a good amount of damage. I'm gonna do Light Spear. Light Spear Cannon. And then we're gonna go down and do more Rending Thrust, and we're actually gonna activate our ultimate right here. This ultimate actually looks really good. So you can see I think we're gonna take out the rest of this boss's health with this. It's just like a laser, just going straight through. A combo master, 60 hits, and you see his boss is just done. It's just got wrecked immediately. Well, not immediately, but it didn't really, take that much to beat that boss. So yeah, that's pretty much Luke, and we did it in 1:40. Got some items down there. We're not gonna run that quest again. So final thoughts on Luke. It's definitely a swordsman that I really like using. Like I said, he reminds me a lot of Adele with his skills, with his buffs and everything that he is, like not flinching. It's definitely still probably my favorite of the 3 units that came out with this collab. I definitely need to get more build videos done for Yuri and for Stan. I think next I'm gonna be running Stan, and the build for him is gonna look really similar to Adele because he's just blonde Adele. So yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the build goes. I appreciate all of y'all for supporting all the content. I appreciate everybody for coming through on the live streams. As always, I'm gonna have all of my links down below. I'll have some of the skills on screen and everything. So yeah, that pretty much does it. It's Fire King Kami signing out, and remember, set your heart ablaze. Overcome all of your limitations. Take it easy.